Burlington Dems do. Hello, everyone on Zoom. Welcome in the room. Thank you all for being here. My name is Adam Roof. I'm the chair of the Burlington Democratic Party, and thank you all for being here, both virtually and in person. We're going to get started here. If anyone comes in and you can see them not registering, just point them over to Lexi. If I miss someone, I want to make sure that everyone is registered to be able to vote. Thank you also to the Vermont Democratic Party for their, so that's going to be annoying. We're going to bear through it. Ooh. Are those people signing on? What do we think?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sure there's a way to mute it, but let's just maybe try that. Let's mute them all. See you later. I like that power. Thank you so much to the Vermont Democratic Party for their support during this process of planning. On this post-pandemic age, we're trying to do our best to make this as accessible as possible, which includes having opportunities like this to gather, but also options virtually for people to participate and listen in. Thank you also to Channel 17, who is streaming the caucus this evening. They've always been a great partner to help get our message out there and everyone else's commentary as well. So good evening again. We're going to get started here. And I'm going to call to order this reorganization caucus at 6:36 p.m. Before we get started, I just want to lay out the agenda for us this evening, as well as some logistics. Well, we have some official business to take care of. We will also be hearing from Mayor Weinberger, as well as candidates who are running for office. Running for executive office. We will also be electing delegates tonight to the county committee, although we will not be hearing from all 40 plus of them to respect your time. We're all welcome at meetings. I want to make sure that everyone, both here and online, hears what our philosophy is. Everyone is welcome at our meetings. To vote, you do need to register. If you are present and have not already registered, please come see Lexi. For those online, there was a deadline to vote virtually at 5 o'clock. That deadline obviously has passed, but if you are online or if you'd still like to vote but missed that online deadline, you can certainly come down anytime before 8:30 here to BED, get registered to vote. All the ballots that we'll be doing all the votes we'll be doing this evening will either be by acclamation for those votes that are uncontested. We'll get them. For those that are contested, we'll be doing a paper ballot. All ballots, whether they are virtual or paper, will be secret ballot. All right, well, let's move on to our official business here. The first item on our agenda is to elect the city committee. The city committee is made up of all those present in voting tonight. Once we elect the city committee, we will adjourn. That's going to keep happening. We will adjourn and the reorganization caucus and call to order the first committee meeting, which we will where we will be taking our votes. Yep. Okay, so with that, that's yep. Just if we know who they are, we'll check them off after that. All right, so with that, I'd like to seek a motion to elect all those present, both in person and virtual, who are eligible to participate in the city committee, to be elected to the Burlington City Committee. Do I have a motion? Awesome. Do I have a second?
Second.
Love it. All those in favor, please say aye. We have our committee. Do I see any nays? Of course not. The ayes have it. With that, without seeing objection, rather, I will adjourn that reorg caucus. We are organized and call to order our meeting of the city committee here just a few minutes later at 6:39. Just for those watching and listening, as people come in, we're just going to consider it friendly that if they are registered and eligible, that they are also a member of the committee. Do I see any objection on that?
No, but can I ask?
Please.
When you were taking votes, they had been muted, and there's 4 chats, and Barbara Wilson has her hand up. I'm just asking it.
I appreciate that. This is going to be a group effort tonight.
Yeah.
Got 15 different things going on.
Say aye.
That is technical. I will unmute. I'm going to see if there are hands up in the chat. Let's check the chat. Thank you all in advance for bearing with me. Folks on Zoom, if you can unmute yourselves. If you have, I know, be careful. If you have, I'll finish. If you have an objection, please unmute yourself and be heard. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and be heard. Seeing none, I'm going to take that vote as legitimate. Do I have any other objection or question? All right, we'll move forward. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. With that, what we're going to start off with is hearing first off from Moreau Weinberger for some introductory remarks. Moreau, come on up and you can take this seat because it's if anyone is a Zoom pro and wants to come up and change out the ding dongs, I will be eternally grateful. Otherwise, we're just going to barrel forward.
Thanks, Adam. Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna try to talk to people in the room and the group that has joined us here on Zoom. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and being part of this. It's kind of a technical step, but a really important one that impacts both the way the party organized itself for state elections, for national elections, and of course for local elections that we are getting into soon. That the season is coming. And then of course electing leadership of the Democratic Party is locally is critical. I want to thank Adam Roof for his years of leadership now in this role. I also want to thank the couple folks leaving the executive committee, Richard Dean, who's with us in the back, and a remarkably selfless act after serving on the city council, came back and served more years as an official for the party. And I also want to thank, I don't think she's able to join us. I don't think she's with us online, but Sierra Hayes also played a critical role. The three of you, the outstanding candidates that we had this last town meeting day who are with us, East District City Councilor Tim Doherty and Ward 8 City Councilor Hannah King. Between this great team, these great candidates, we had an outstanding results last March, and we are in better position as a party locally than we have been in decades. We have not had a working majority the way we do currently on the Burlington City Council in at least 40 years. And we certainly haven't had the mayor and a working city majority able to work together the way we are right now. So again, thank you, Adam, for your leadership. Thank you for everyone who was involved last March. This progress is already having an impact on the city, on the way this community moves forward. Certainly the way in which the city council is run and is organized as the key deliberative body for us working out our key decisions as a community has changed dramatically since City Council President Paul was elected by a majority of City Council. I see that President Paul is with us tonight. I want to thank Karen for her leadership in that role. Substantively, on the big issues, we're making progress as well. We, on public safety, we have at long last a permanent chief. The department is stabilized and growing again, both in officer ranks as well as in the new positions we have created to do policing in new and better ways. We are on the verge of hiring our first ever assistant director level civilian position at the police department to manage all of the new alternative public safety resources that we have created in recent years. We still obviously are facing serious public safety challenges, but we are making progress on many metrics as a result of stability and in many ways democratic leadership. There are more homes in construction in the city right now than I believe at any time in the history of the city. Nearly 900 homes have either been built recently or under construction. Perhaps even more hopefully, we are continuing to take steps with the Democratic majority that we have now to ensure that this becomes a new norm, that we continue to be a city that can evolve and grow to meet its housing needs. We are in the middle of a new zoning district right now. I think it's kind of poignant that we are having this meeting in a place where for decades housing was prohibited. It is now legal, and it is legal at a scale that is going to allow us to build hundreds of additional homes over the years to come. And we are making historic infrastructure investments all over the city. We are partnered with the Biden administration. We will be making nearly $40 million of investments in infrastructure in the downtown that will be paid for by federal dollars, by tax increment financing dollars. And when we do need to bond, and of course we are going to need to do significant amounts of bonding at the local level because of the progress we've made with the state of our finances, we are still, even in the financial moment we're in now, able to borrow at quite low interest rates. Tomorrow, we will be going out for, I believe it is $120 million of the up to $165 million of high school bonding. And even with all the all the interest rate increases pushed forward by the Fed over the last couple of years in response to the historic inflation, it appears we are going to be able to lock that financing in for the next couple of decades at under 4%. To keep this going, we need another great town meeting day this coming March. It is going to be another big one. There will be 8 city council seats. They'll be up, as well as the mayor's seat. We have an excellent chance. My read of the situation is we have an excellent chance to defend the 7-seat majority that we have currently, and maybe even pick up another 1 or 2. We are not going to be able to do that. However, if we don't stay strong as a Burlington Democratic Party, if we are not working hard and united, and to that end, it is awesome to see so many people here, so many people out, and being involved in this early step. So thank you all for being here, and look forward to working with you in the months ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Weinberger, for your remarks and for your work. So the next piece on our agenda is we're going to be doing some elections. Before we can get to that point, we're going to open up nominations and also hear from candidates. We'll be electing folks to the executive committee of the Democratic Party here in Burlington. We're also going to be electing county delegates, which I think we have 61 seats plus 17 alternates, and we only, I think, have 42 delegate candidates. So if anyone is here who's interested, not on that list already, we're going to maybe hear some nominations from the floor as well. Hey, John. Just a little bit of clarity for everyone here. This is what we'll be doing for the executive committee elections. Actually, before I do that, I just want to share a couple of quick thanks for folks that I've had the opportunity to work with for a couple of years. Moreau mentioned a few of them, but Richard Dean, who served for 3 years now, I believe, as treasurer of the party. Thank you, Richard, for your work, not just with the party, but also on the city council. Also, Sierra Hayes. She was a UVM student who wanted to get involved. Really is an incredible young woman that came to us and wanted to serve as a reporting officer and did a great job in that role. And we wish her all the best of luck in her future endeavors. The Burlington Democratic Executive Committee is made up of 5 elected positions: chair, vice chair, recording officer, also known as secretary in our bylaws, but I don't like that word, so I changed it, treasurer and vice treasurer. The deadline for being considered for one of these positions was noon on the 5th of September. All the candidates who are on the ballot today, who are in front of us today, have met that deadline and they are eligible for these positions. Only one of the 5 positions, vice chair, is contested. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to move through nominations, of which nominators will be given 2 minutes to address the group here. And then we have up to 5 minutes for folks, candidates, to speak. Once that is done, we're going to open up elections for the contested vice chair race. Those will close. I've got you in one moment. Those will close at 8:30. For those uncontested executive committee races, we're going to do a vote by acclamation. Okay. I did see a question. Go ahead.
So for the contested race, there'll be an opportunity for members of the committee to ask questions of the candidates.
Yep. Jason, you're 2 lines ahead of me, which I appreciate.
I heard you say statements and vote. I didn't hear anything in between.
That's right. We will also once the voting is open, we'll be having an opportunity for questions of not just the contested races, but any any candidates who will be taking questions. My goal here is to get the virtual voting period open as soon as possible, so that folks have opportunities to vote, but we do have to get the nominations in. Did that answer your question?
It did. So the virtual voting will be open before the candidate statements and the discussion, or once that has concluded and the in-person voting begins?
Sure. So we're going to go nominations. We're going to go candidate speeches. We're then going to open up the voting. Andy Voda, who has since disappeared, there he is. He's not hiding. He's going to hit a button. Those ballots are going to go out, and then we're going to make space for conversation and questions.
Could we entertain the possibility of holding on the virtual voting going out until the people in person begin voting, so that everybody has, including virtual people, have the benefit of hearing the conversation before they cast their vote?
This is what we're going to do. Once the nominations are in, if anyone here or online, when those ballots go out, anyone here can begin casting their vote. If you are considering who to vote for and you want to ask questions or hear the debate, that opportunity will be there. So we're going to try to open up the ballot as soon as we can for access reasons. And so if someone wants to come up and put the ballot here to the side of Lexi, we can do that. But I think that's going to be the best way to move forward.
Adam, to that end.
Yes.
It's scheduled, we put in the message that it would open at 7.
Mhm.
And so Jason, to that point, everyone has their paper ballots right here and they can decide to vote them or not. So they will have till 8, it's running 7 to 8:30 for the electronic. That's the current.
Including in person, just so folks know, if they've registered and they want to come down and vote up until 8:30, that's allowable as well. Is everyone okay with that? Is there any more objection or question about how we're going to move forward? All right, thank you. So right now we're going to go in order. We'll start with the chair nomination. I'll look to Mayor Weinberger to come up for a quick nomination and we'll go forward from there.
Okay, great. Hello again. I am excited and honored to nominate Adam Roof to continue in the role as president of the Burlington City Dems. Adam, I think has, I might not have this quite right, but I believe it's been at least 4 cycles now, 4 local elections, including some special election where Adam has been the chair. With my sense has been that with each new election, the party has picked up momentum, made progress, done even better at the polls. And that's what we need to keep doing, as I said before, into next spring. So I nominate Adam Roof.
Thank you. Nominations, I don't believe. I mean, if you really want to, that's my belief, any Robert's rules, I'm almost certain that a nomination does not require a second. So I'm not going to do remarks. I just want to say thank you all for over the years. I was doing some reflecting over this week when realizing that I'm going to sign up for another 2 years for the chair position. Next month marks my 9-month anniversary of getting involved. The first time I got involved was running for city council.
9 years.
What did I say? As you can tell, it's been a long 9 years. No, it's been an incredible 9 years. I'm incredibly grateful for all what I've learned, and also very fulfilled by what I've been able to give back to the community. And I'm looking forward for 2 more years and hopefully many more decades. So we're not going to go vote by vote, like I said, so we'll close that nomination. I'll consider myself nominated. Next up, we're going to hear from the vice chair nominees. Do I have anyone interested in nominating someone for the vice chair position? Yep, Joan, come on up. I know who's in line. I just didn't know who.
Setting the timer,
Oh, I've got.
because I'm talking off the cuff and you never know where that goes. I'd like to nominate Hannah King. And I first met Hannah, I think, when she was working with UVM Dems, and UVM Dems really became connected to the city party and got involved in both the mayoral campaign and city council campaigns, and then rose to leadership in the Dem party, in the UVM Dems. And I've asked Hannah to talk a little bit more about the work that she has done for the Democrats, but I want to say that these positions are very important for getting Democrats elected. And I really appreciate all the work that Hannah has done over the years for so many candidates. She has stepped up and done everything we've asked, including running for city council when we wouldn't have had anybody, and we certainly wouldn't have had anybody who could have won that race. And she worked so hard for that, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you connecting me with a campaign manager from UVM and creating that connection with UVM. And just generally being part of the Dem team when it comes to election time and when we need to get people elected. Hannah's really been there for us. And I look forward, I've enjoyed working with her. I look forward to working with her in the future. I also want to say, I'm so grateful that there are two people who want to do this. And I did have the pleasure of meeting Olivia last year. And whichever way this goes, I look forward to working with both women in the party, and thank you.
With that,
So awkward doing the hybrid thing. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Joan, Adam, and all of the folks that put tonight's event together. My name is Hannah King, and I'm excited to be running for the position of Vice Chair of the Burlington Democrats. I've been a proud member of the Burlington Democrats team for the last 5 years. When I moved to Burlington in 2018, I didn't imagine I would do anything remotely involved in political organizing. As a nervous, newly freed from chemistry lab first year, I attended my first UVM Dems meeting. It happened to be the meeting where East District City Councilor Richard Dean was attending to speak about his re-election campaign. After hearing his overview and doing some research into the progressive candidate running against him, it was clear to me who I would support. But it was through that decision-making that I knew just voting wasn't enough. So from December to early March that year, I spent my days knocking doors, making calls, harassing and registering as many UVM students as I could to turn out the vote for Burlington Dems. And while we didn't end up winning that race, the experience served as the foundation for my involvement with the Burlington Dems. In the years after that first brutally cold town meeting day, I can truly say I have worked tirelessly on behalf and alongside the Burlington Democrats. There hasn't been a town meeting day cycle since 2018 that I haven't volunteered, managed a race, or worked for one of our Democratic candidates. But my commitment to the Burlington Democrats doesn't stop at volunteering for our candidates. I've served as the Ward 8 chair of our city committee, as a representative on the Vermont Democratic Party's executive committee, and as just about every single leadership position of the UVM Democrats. I'm deeply committed to Burlington. During my time here, I've served on the Ward 8 Neighborhood Planning Assembly, Community Development Block Grant Advisory Board, and Low Barrier Homeless Shelter Advisory Board. I could not have been successful in those roles if it wasn't for the support and mentorship of fellow Burlington Democrats. In 2022, I ran as a Democrat for the Ward 8 City Council seat. Anyone that knows politics in Burlington understands that the political and dynamic in Ward 8 tends to lean hyper-progressive. In the days leading up to my announcement, I heard from countless people that the most strategic thing to do would be to seek the progressive nomination. But I remain consistent in my views. I would rather lose as a Burlington Democrat than win with any other party label. And I did just that. I lost, but stuck around and continued working on behalf of Democrats. Specifically, I used that time to work as the finance director on Becca Ballant's historic campaign for Congress. Now in 2023, I got a redo and proudly serve as the Ward 8 City Councilor, more specifically as the first candidate to run and win as a Democrat in Ward 8. We are heading into another campaign season, one that will require strong, commitment to the Burlington Democrats. I have the experience, track record, and commitment critical for this position. The last 5 years have been tough, but today I'm asking you to support me in the same way I've supported our team over the years. Thank you.
Any other nominations for vice chair? Please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi to everybody online. I'm Amanda Janu. I live across from Battery Park and work as an economic policy expert. And I'm really thrilled to be able to nominate Olivia Taylor for the role of vice chair of the Burlington Democrats. So I should admit that this is actually my first reorg. I partially probably because I grew up in central Vermont, so I've always been a little bit confused about the dynamics between the Progressive and the Democratic Party here, but mostly because I didn't even really know that this was a thing until I did emerge with Olivia this past year and learned a lot more about the Democratic Party and its structure. And I'm really grateful to be with all of you here today because clearly you're leaders and champions for this city and for the people here. And I feel, living in Burlington, that we're facing increasingly complex social, environmental, and economic crises. And I really feel we can't solve those challenges with the same thinking that created them in the first place. And so in this time, I think we need to get all hands on deck. But unfortunately, more and more people are disengaging from politics because they're pretty frustrated with the status quo. And so I really believe that Olivia is going to be your lady if you want to get new, fresh perspectives and more engagement in the Democratic Party here. And so it's really been my privilege to get to know Olivia because she's somebody who's really passionate, particularly about equity and inclusion. But it's something she doesn't just talk about, she really walks that talk in terms of the way in which she's been actively engaged in the community. And so I think she'll be somebody who will be able to connect with people from all different walks of life and really be able to bring in a lot more diverse perspectives into political leadership and decision-making in this city. And so Olivia has obviously inspired me to be here today. And so I'm honored to be able to nominate her as vice chair and really hope that you'll join me in voting for her. Thank you. Okay, I am not a sitter, so I'm gonna stand. And I'm gonna make sure that I think you can see me pretty well, yeah? I'm also 5'1" without heels, so standing is good for me. Hi, everyone, I'm Olivia Taylor. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a resident of Ward 7, and I live in the New North End. I'm running for vice chair because I'm excited to support and defend the work of our existing city councilors and the mayor and to bring a strong and organized party into 2024. I have expertise in sustainability, social impact, fundraising, private sector development, operations management, public policy, and government relations. My first Vermont politics experience was in 2014 when I interned for the House Committee on Transportation, which then led to a position as the energy and climate change intern at the Agency of Transportation under Sue Minter. So she was kind of my first intro into the party. Since then, I've worked in academic support and international development. I've received a Master of Public Administration from Columbia University, and I've joined a number of boards and committees around Vermont. I currently serve as the Vice President of Philanthropy for the Junior League of Champlain Valley, who's behind the diaper bank. Unfortunately, that ended, but they were behind the diaper bank. I'm a steering committee member for the Wards 4 and 7 NPA. Go NPAs, join and go to your NPAs. And I am also part of the Housing Board of Review with Evan, who's here as well. I've run for office myself, and I have planned a variety of community events, including I was just the parade coordinator for this year's Pride Parade. And I have raised, in the last 2 years, I organized the National Eating Disorder Association walks, which both raised over $15,000. Last year, I completed the Emerge Vermont signature training and also the Vermont Council on World Affairs Global Leadership Program, which gave me a lot of really great networks and also connections to different people. I'm probably most well known, however, for the work I've done with Mayor Weinberger and his administration with the stickers and the transphobic stickers in New North End. When I noticed the presence of transphobic hate stickers in the New North End, especially in areas around schools and playgrounds, I began walking around the neighborhood weekly to clean the stickers myself. I then posted on Facebook, Front Porch Forum, all those things, and got a bunch of community members, officials, reporters to join me in cleaning. So I am really excited that I helped write the resolution that was brought to City Council, passed unanimously, to help track the presence of the stickers, make stickering harder to do on public signs, and reassess our graffiti laws. So I want to especially thank the mayor and his office for working with me on this. And as vice chair, I would continue to support the city council in this way. I am not a city councilor, but I love writing policy, so I will keep doing it. As vice chair, I would bring my skills in fundraising, philanthropy, event planning to bring more energy to the party. I want to see more events, more get-togethers, people getting to know each other and really like coming back after this pandemic time. As a party, we want to make sure that we're defending the work of our city councilors while also building the bench and getting more young, diverse, and queer people involved in the party. I believe my network, expertise, and energy will create a more open, accessible, and inclusive party. No matter what happens tonight, you have my word that I will continue to work for these things, whether or not you want me to, within the party, and I am truly honored to be here with you all today. Thank you so much, and thank you, Hannah, too. I love competition. I think it's good for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you all to the nominators and to the candidates. It's always nice when there's an election where you can't really lose, and I look forward to whoever is successful tonight. I know that the other will also remain committed to working, and so I'm as chair, or almost, well, I'm still chair for the moment. You haven't voted me in again, but I'm really grateful for both of you for stepping up and setting a good example for getting more folks involved. Which
those were two excellent speeches. I just
yeah, for both of them again. Yeah. So let's keep chugging forward here. We do have a few more offices to fill up. Next in line is the role of treasurer. Do I have a nomination for treasurer?
Thank you. I'm glad I went first before, because following all of those other speeches you were all great. I would like to nominate Beth Anderson for treasurer. Beth was our CAO, and talk about overqualified for a position. We got it. And I am so glad that Beth is becoming more involved with partisan politics in our favor, which I don't think she could really do when she was working inside City Hall. But thank you, Beth, for stepping up.
All right, Beth, let's do a sound check here. Can you speak?
Can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear. Is that good for everyone in the room? All right. Beth, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Joan and Adam, and thanks to you all for the chance to just introduce myself. For those of you that know me, you won't be surprised to know that this is going to be short and sweet. But I'll just take a minute to tell you a little about myself. I'm Beth Anderson. I'm a Ward 5 resident, and I've lived in the South End for about 14 years now, ever since I moved to Burlington. I am currently the CEO at Vital, which is a health information exchange for the state. But as Joan mentioned, prior to joining Vital, I worked at the city for a number of years, first as the city's first chief innovation officer, and later as the chief administrative officer, where I was responsible for coordinating city budgeting, as well as other things. I also have served on the board of a number of local nonprofits, including Caucus and Run Vermont, and I serve as a treasurer for a statewide campaign candidate as well. I cared deeply about this community, and I've really committed a lot of my time, both through my career, both through my work and my volunteer, to try to better the community for all here. And I'm ready to make a commitment to working hard as a member of the executive committee of this group. I believe that commitment, the work experience and skills I bring, and the perspective and the level-headedness I think I approach my work with, would really help me make a positive contribution to the work and support and advance the party's goals. Thank you for considering me.
For Beth. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for those words. We'll move on here. We've got two more positions left. Can I see a nomination for vice treasurer? Nick.
Thank you, Adam. For the position of vice treasurer, I'd like to nominate Andrew Champagne, a longtime Democrat in Burlington and a good mentor and friend of mine. So thank you, Andrew. And I'd like to nominate you for vice treasurer.
Andrew.
I'm gonna speak for about 25 minutes. Is that okay? I'd like to thank everybody. Thanks, Ryan. I'd also like to thank Town Meeting Television, who I just did my monthly Democratic show and came right from there. They're the ones that cover this so well. I'd like to thank them. Okay, I'm looking out there. Richard Dean, Joan Shannon, Hannah King, Adam Roof, Moreau Weinberger. I've worked in all your campaigns. I just registered my 1725th voter. Yeah. What I always say every 2 years at this time is town meeting is coming up fast. It's in about 18, 19 weeks. I always joke it's my favorite day of the year, but it really is. I love how Burlington comes together. Burlington is family. Burlington is community. Go Burlington Dems. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Looking forward to continuing to work with you for sure. Last office, can I see a nomination for recording officer?
She's back. Sorry. I would like to nominate Romeo von Herman, who may not be known to everybody here. I think he's newish on my horizon, and I think he's tried on some different political hats. There's Romeo. Romeo is there from Africa, where I believe it's about 3 or 4 a.m. God bless you, Romeo. But I came to know Romeo as he started to become more involved in politics, started coming to city council meetings, talking to us about what was on his mind. He works down at he works down at the bus station and is really, on the front lines of everything that's going on downtown, and has become engaged through his concerns and has really reached out to a lot of us and is becoming more involved in the political process. And I am so grateful that he has settled here with the Democratic Party. And thank you, Romeo. He's also somebody, he's applied for many different boards, and he's always like, I'll do what you need me to do. And we have not appointed him to several things, and we've recently appointed him to the Church Street Marketplace. And when he came on to when he wanted to get involved here, he's like, I'll go in any position you need me to go in. And thank you very much, Romeo, for stepping up.
Romeo, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. And it's great to join you all from the Horn of Africa, where I'm at, as Councillor Shannon was so kindly mentioned. I am grateful to be amongst you. It's a privilege, honestly, to be with you all. As Councillor Shannon so kindly put, I work at the Transit Center downtown. I get to see a lot of stuff that happens within the community. I do get a front row seat to what's happening in our town, as well as what is happening during, before, and after town meeting day. And so I've always wanted to be involved in public service. I value civic service a lot. And I see the Democratic Party as a grown-up party that values civic service, and I couldn't ask for a more robust and well-grounded party to be part of as an individual. As a kid who grew up in a Civil War-torn country, I've really come to value from childhood the meaning of civil service and what that can do and the importance of democracy. And I want to exercise that right to vote, participate, and be part of a community that equally values as much as I do through the Democratic Party in my city in Burlington. I send you my love and everything from the heart of Africa, and I look forward to being back and being there to serve with you along every town meeting day. So thank you.
Now I have to unspotlight, which, see if I can figure that out.
Go to the top.
Top.
Nope.
This is fun for everyone. Madison, let's do it. Which way do I go?
Go back on Romeo's block. Yep, you see that? Remove spotlight, go up, go up. Ah, there you go.
That's pretty good teamwork there. That was funny. All right. So with that, thank you all for the nominations for the candidates that have stepped forward. I greatly appreciate you. I know others here greatly appreciate you. The work that you have done and will do are deeply important to not just Burlington, but the democratic process that we need to continue to defend and fight for. So thank you again. With that, before I ask for a motion on the uncontested races, I just want to let folks know that voting for the contested race is open. If you are watching on YouTube, Channel 7 Town Meeting TV, or here on Zoom, you can check your inboxes. That you can email burlingtondems@gmail.com if you have any issues. We have until 8:30. It doesn't look like there have been any issues that have popped up so far, but we are here to help. Well, I do want to take a moment actually to thank Andy Voda, who's not on screen, but Andy Voda is now staring at me angry, but he does an incredible amount of work. It goes to show that you don't need to be an elected official or a member of a committee or a member of a formal member of anything to show up and do the work like Andy does. So I appreciate you, buddy. So voting for that is open. I will now look for a motion before we get to the county delegates, a motion on the 4 uncontested executive committee members. So I'll look for a motion for a slate on that, and I can help anyone build that motion if you'd like. Who wants to take it? Is that Molly Gray? Good motion. Who's got a second for it?
Second.
All right, I'll take a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Any nays?
Let's go to the virtual.
Yes. To the virtual, if you would like a resounding unmuted nay is more than welcome. No one? I was expecting some Ben Travers to bumble onto the scene there.
Aye.
There.
No, yes, aye.
But also anyone who object, please be heard. All right, thank you. The ayes have it. And on behalf of myself, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to working with the other members of the committee. The ballots are open and live for the contested race. We're going to take just a 1-minute break before I read off the names for the county delegates. For anyone that needs to cast their vote, I know some people had commitments, but it can be hard sometimes to get up and leave. If you'd like to leave your ballot right here on the corner, feel free to cast your ballot, and thank you for attending. Also, thank you. Also, if anyone has come in so far and has not registered or checked in and would like to vote in person, please come up and do that now. And for those online, just 30-45 seconds, and we will get back to it.
What's your last name?
Jason Van Dyke. I'm not counting on 4.
Hold on, let me just mute. Thank you all for indulging in that little break, little stretch. A couple of votes are in. Again, if you still have not registered, you can see Lexi, and we will go from there. Up next is we need to elect our county delegates. That's the next item on our agenda. Really quickly, I'm just going to pull up the list. No one judge my tabs.
You don't have enough. Oh, you should see this one.
Yeah, you should. I'm just going to quickly read off for folks the names, which I was advised to do by our trusty lawyers to make sure that the motion is accepted, and since I'm a little bit blind, I need to zoom in. So for everyone, I can make a motion as chair. So I'm actually going to make a motion, and I'm going to move that the following names be elected to the county as county delegates. Ed Adrian, Robert Bistro Johnson, Lorraine Carter Lovejoy, Abby Duke, Joanna Grossman, Betsy Hands, Evan Litwin, Jason Lorber, myself, David Scherer, Mary Sullivan, John Tracy, Jason Van Drysch, Andy Voda, Elizabeth Allen Pennebaker, Stephen Kramer, Michael Fisher, Molly Gray, Betsy on there twice. You can only get one seat, Betsy. Oh, you can't do that. That's funny. Romy and Von Herman, Eric Jacobson, Jill Krawinski, Kate Lapp, John Letty and Lazak, Aaron Malone, Gino Sullivan, Karen Paul, Jacob Perkinson, Barbara, help me, is Barbara here? Pfeiffer, thank you. Marnie Pike, Barbara Rachelson, Joan Shannon, Gabrielle Stebbins, and Olivia Tabor, as well as Andrew Champagne, who didn't email me, but I will add him to the motion.
Thank you, Adam.
I got you. Anyone else? We have more than enough seats to go around. Anyone else interested in serving on the Madison, Amanda Denew? I'm adding to my motion. Who else?
I nominate Fauna Shaw Hurley.
Yeah. All right. Tiff as well. I will write these down. I love it. I'm gonna look to a motion is almost done. Anyone online want to nominate themselves or anyone else? Just throw it in the group chat. Awesome. All right, everyone.
I would volunteer.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you for that. I did get Mike Fisher. He's on the list. Yep. Thank you. I'm going to circulate this list. Just know that it's quite easy. I can appoint folks to the County Democratic Committee. So if there are folks who are interested, we have plenty of space and it's an important role. And thank you to those who have been working on that committee, new and old, for building that organization up, including, yes, questions.
Is it possible to nominate somebody who's not in attendance?
Yes.
I feel like they have to know.
I feel like they should know. Send me names. All right, order.
Mary Catherine's in the chat.
Thank you. I will take
Get to
it.
61 by the end of the night.
Yeah, no, I know he had about 20 to fill, and that wasn't 20. All right, so with that very long and clearly well thought out motion, do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
A second has it. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Do I see any nays? I do not. The ayes have it. Thank you all for that as well. I look forward to working with the county Dems as well. That concludes our business that is scheduled tonight. I will look for anyone who has any new business.
Say that we could have some discussion about
That's correct. Does anyone have any questions for the candidates? Thank you. Moving quickly. So with that, we'll pause. We're not, our official business is not done. Does anyone have any questions for any of the candidates? If you're in the room, just direct them at me. I will kind of redirect them into the screen so that folks can hear it. And then I'll ask anyone who's been asked that question to come up and answer them here. That sound like a good process to everyone? Yeah.
And then for online
Fair.
folks, how should they submit a question?
Yep, they can submit it on the chat and I will read it that way. Is that okay with everyone online? If anyone has any issue with that, you can also unmute yourself or raise your hand and I'll just keep an eye out for those. How does that sound? Yep. Okay, I want to make sure the room feels good about the process. All right, does anyone have any questions for any candidates? Just if you don't.
And it has to do with sort of independence and openness of the party to new candidates and to non-incumbents. And the question
Sure.
really is for Hannah, as a sitting city councilor, how she would navigate being open to anybody and everybody who might want to be a part of the party, including potentially in her own district, if she is on the party. Because I see that as a bit of a conflict of interest, and personally would prefer to have committee members who aren't active elected officials. I think those are two separate things and should remain separate. So I'm curious how Hannah would address that.
Sure.
Do you want me to come up or can I just?
Yeah, that would be great. And I'll do my best to summarize that, but just wave me down like I'm sure you will if I'm not accurately summarizing it. So Jason asked for Hannah to respond to his thought around how she would, in the vice chair role, not have a conflict of interest, given the fact that she is a sitting city councilor, and how she would work towards involving more people, including in her own ward, in the party. Did I summarize that well? And if not, please just come up and
That's good.
it looks good.
Well, I'll start by saying, as the Ward 8 City Councilor, I am not working directly on behalf of the Burlington Democrats. I got elected by the voters of Ward 8. And so the work that I'm doing on the council, sure, we have our caucus and I can speak to fellow councilors and we can consult on issues, but it's never just a blanket vote of this is how the Dems are voting, or Moreau telling us, okay, this is how we're doing it. And then we just all go in and, are puppets. It really is a process that, like, Tim and I have worked really hard on over the last couple of months of ensuring that we are reaching out to our constituents proactively. So we have monthly listening sessions, and before a vote, my number one priority is connecting with my constituents. And if it happens to line up with the Burlington Democrats, amazing. A lot of the time, if you watch me on council, it doesn't line up that way. And so I would start by saying that. And then in terms of bringing in a new perspective to the party, I feel like I worked many years outside of being an elected official and in an official capacity on behalf and with the Burlington Democrats. And I think that I have worked extensively with the UVM Democrats and then other communities to try to get folks involved. And so I think that the role of the vice chair of the Burlington Democrats is to support the Democratic Party and deeply understand the mission behind the Burlington Democrats. And I actually think being a sitting Democratic city councilor is a big part of that, because I understand it deeper than anyone else would. And so that's what I would say.
As chair and as the party, we are unbiased in the elections that happen for the executive committee. I was asked, however, factually, as to whether or not there was a conflict dynamic with a current city councilor sitting on the executive committee. There is not, by way of the bylaw. There's precedent. Currently, the vice chair, Councilor Travers, is also a sitting city councilor at the moment. So I just wanted to share that factual, because I was asked about this, and so I wanted to share that. Are there any other questions for any of the candidates for the office, the executive office? I think I saw a hand. Yeah.
I just have a clarifying comment.
Mhm.
So just from the perspective of the Chittenden County Democratic Committee, I do not believe that there was a conflict in terms of an elected official. In this case, Hannah being a city councilor and running and serving, if elected, as vice chair of the Burlington Democrats, based on the current Chittenden County Democratic Committee bylaws and BDP state party bylaws. So I just wanted to clarify that for those present and joining us virtually.
That makes, yeah, go ahead.
To be clear, I was not under the impression that there was a legal conflict of interest. I have full faith that the party is operating within its bylaws and within the law. What I mean by conflict is more the sense of the party being inward focused on the current set of folks who are in office and the current vision of the Democratic Party and what it's about.
Okay.
And I would have a follow-up question for Olivia, which is, can you say some specific ways that you think the mandate, the mission, the vision of the Democratic Party ought to be broader here in Burlington than it is now?
And I'll invite you to come up. I'll summarize the question again from Jason Van Drysch was to Olivia, what her vision is for broadening the mission of the Democratic Party here in Burlington. Okay.
I'll sit for this one. I'm too short still though. Okay. So you're wondering kind of how the mission could be broadened to include more and different people?
Take it wherever you
Is
want.
that okay? That I'm understanding it. I guess what I would say is that I think I have a lot of access and networks to communities that are not involved in the party. And I think I've been on some different calls, Burlington and Chittenden County Dems calls in the last few months. And I've noticed that attendance is really hard. It's really hard to get people engaged. It's really hard to get people involved. And looking around, I think Hannah and I are among the youngest people in this group as well. I don't necessarily think that means that basically I think I have a lot of really great networks within the queer community, within a lot of other communities that want to and do provide services like Junior League and things like that. People who are not currently, from what I know about them, registered as any party or vote or care. And I think when I ran for office in Ward 7 in the New North End, I learned how important the New North End is. And I think that sometimes that's taken for granted. But the New North End is really where elections happen and where the choices are made. And I think that my connection to that community, not only through my work as a NPA steering committee member, but also I'm a local pet sitter. I know a lot of people because I watch their cats and their dogs, and their chickens and their ducks, and some lizards and some small animals as well, guinea pigs, if you have those. So I do a lot of pet sitting. So I know pretty much everyone who lives in my neighborhood because of their animals. And I think that I have this potential to get people excited. And my work cleaning the transphobic stickers, I got all these people who knew nothing about the city, about politics, about anything, coming and walking with me and cleaning and learning stuff. And I think I have the energy and the extroverted tendencies to bring people places that they don't know they want to be, convince them. I think my favorite story about myself is in grad school. We went on a field trip and we got split into two groups and my group got lost. I'm kind of going on a tangent, but this is a good story, I promise. And I said, oh, I think we go this way. And half my class, about 30 of them, followed me. We walked about a mile and we were in the wrong place. And so my friend said, well, you're just so confident about knowing about where to go that I would follow you anywhere. And I was like, well, that is a helpful thing. So I think one of my strengths is that I am very confident and I go in the direction that I've decided. And if someone speaks up, I will change direction, but I tend to be very good at motivating people to show up. And that was a long answer. Thank you.
Before we move on to the next question, can you check email again and see if we have any other inquiries? And also just remind everybody on Zoom that ballots are out and they can vote.
Pretty good. Right now, there's no service questions or no help desks. No help desk requests right now, Andy. Folks online, if you're watching on Zoom or on YouTube and registered virtually, of which the majority of folks participating tonight have done, your ballots have been delivered. For those here, our business is what we're going to do. We're going to conclude the business, but we're not going to adjourn. you're all welcome to stay and talk. I see another question, which I'll get to, but I don't want to suspend the meeting. I'm going to wait until the ballots are in and the vote is done. And then I will adjourn the meeting then. So I'll see anyone, if online, anyone has any questions for candidates. I want to make sure that I'm not blocking that off. And then I'll go back to the room. I'm not seeing any hands risen or chats. So I'll go back to the room. Ryan, Nick, do you have a question?
Yeah, for Olivia, I understand when you ran for council the last time you ran as a progressive, now you're over with us, the Democrats. I was just wondering if you could speak to that sort of journey and that, how we got you over here.
The question, I'm just reading for folks online. The question is about Olivia's journey from having ran in the past as a progressive for city council to now looking to join the Democratic Party.
Yeah. So I guess first is a correction. I ran as an independent, much like Adam did before he got involved in the Democrats. I got the progressive support. I actually didn't know about the Democratic Caucus, and I had reached out, and the people I had reached out to had never gotten back to me, so I didn't know. So I was planning to try to do a PD, but I didn't do it. So I guess, but I was associated and knew people in the progressives and was getting support from them. Honestly, I went through that process. I had almost no support. I did this campaign with no campaign manager, no volunteers. I got COVID in the middle of it. It was a really cold winter. And afterwards I felt really defeated, but Elaine, who's the executive director of Emerge, was one of the moderators of one of my debates, and she messaged me right after and was like, I need to talk to you. Who are you? How can we get you involved? And she just like grabbed me and was like, we need you in Emerge. And I joined Emerge and I got to know all these people. And I didn't really know many Democrats in Burlington or people who were active. So for me, it was having the chance to actually meet people that lived in Burlington and agreed with me, like Joanna, and I was like, oh, there's people here that I relate to as well. And I think that's kind of what my journey has been. I volunteered first for Sue Minter's campaign. So I've definitely been like in and out of the Democrats, but never officially within it. But now that I have found it, I would like to be part of it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Find that we're the grown-up party and the frogs are the adult children living in the basement that won't involve.
All right. Didn't hear a question in that, so I'm going to move on. So for folks online who are still with us, I want to give another opportunity for any questions, but not seeing any. That will conclude our official business for the evening, and ballots will close in about 50 or so minutes at 8:30. Channel 17, I believe, is going to cut the feed, but you're more than welcome to go to the btvdems.org website and tune in to the Zoom for those who want to stay up with us and watch the election results come in.
Can you wake me up when that's done?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to take that. It's not going to be a town meeting day type night. We should have the results soon thereafter. So again, closing down the business, but not adjourning. Okay. Thank you all. Feel free to stay and mingle and hang out. And thank you all for joining online as well.
Can I make an announcement?